The silent witness. The crimson sands of Kepler 442c stretched endlessly under twin suns, broken only by the skeletal remains of what had once been a thriving research facility. Dr. Zephon adjusted his environmental suit and gestured to his archaeological team with one of his forearms. The Altarian scientist had spent decades studying the remnants of extinct civilizations, but something about this human outpost felt different. Preliminary scans show the structure is intact, reported his assistant, a young Centaurian named Lixa. Her blue-tinged skin shimmered in the alien sunlight as she consulted her scanning device. Power core is still active, though running on minimal systems. The team moved carefully through the facility's entrance. Unlike other abandoned human sites they had explored, this one showed no signs of battle damage or hasty evacuation. Equipment sat exactly where it had been left, as if the inhabitants had simply vanished mid-task. Zephon paused at a workstation where a cup of what humans called coffee still sat, now crystallized after years of exposure. "They left everything behind," he murmured, his translator converting his thoughts into Galactic standard. But why? The Kashari Empire had claimed victory over humanity 3 years ago, announcing the complete subjugation of all human colonies. The galaxy had watched as the most aggressive military force in known space systematically conquered world after world, belonging to the stubborn bipedal species that had dared to expand beyond their home system without permission. Lixa called, out from deeper in the facility. "Doctor, you need to see this." They found her standing before a massive data terminal, its screens flickering with streams of information. The display showed star charts, resource calculations, and what appeared to be construction blueprints for vessels unlike anything in their databases. "The system is still active," Lixa explained, her voice filled with wonder. "It's been running continuously for 3 years, cataloging and updating massive amounts of data." Zephon approached the terminal cautiously. His knowledge of human technology was extensive, but this system operated on principles he didn't recognize. "Can you access the historical logs?" "Already working on it," Lixa replied, her fingers dancing across the interface. "The encryption is actually quite simple. Almost like they wanted someone to find this eventually." The screen shifted, displaying what appeared to be a video log. A human female with graying hair and tired eyes appeared, speaking directly to the camera. The timestamp showed the date as exactly 3 years, 2 months, and 15 days ago. "My name is Dr. Sarah Morrison, Chief of Colonial Research Division," the woman began. "If you're watching this, then you found one of our witness stations. You need to understand what really happened to humanity." The archaeological team exchanged glances. Official galactic records stated that humans had been either eliminated or enslaved by the Kashari Empire. Yet here was evidence suggesting a different story. Dr. Morrison continued. 12 hours ago, the Kashari delivered their final ultimatum: surrender all human colonies and submit to imperial rule, or face complete annihilation. They gave us 30 standard days to comply. The image shifted to show massive Kashari battle fleets surrounding human worlds. The insectoid aliens' vessels were legendary for their destructive capability, each ship capable of glassing an entire continent. "The Galactic Council has chosen to remain neutral," Morrison said, bitterness creeping into her voice. "They claim this is an internal territorial dispute. 43 million human civilians across 17 worlds, and we're considered an internal dispute." Zephon felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. He remembered the council debates from that time. Many species had argued for intervention, but the Kashari Empire wielded too much influence. The decision to classify the conflict as a territorial expansion rather than genocide had been controversial, but final. However, Morrison continued, her expression shifting to something that might have been hope. Humanity has never been good at accepting impossible odds. While the Kashari assume we'll either fight and die or surrender and die, we've chosen a third option. The video log showed blueprints and schematics flashing across secondary screens. Zephon recognized some elements: fusion drives, habitat, modules, agricultural systems. But the overall design was revolutionary. Project Genesis began 18 months ago, when our deep space scouts discovered something remarkable in the void sectors. Morrison explained. Regions of space, we thought, were empty actually, contain the raw materials for terraforming on a scale never before imagined, not just planets, entire systems. Lixa gasped. That's impossible. Terraforming takes centuries even with the most advanced technology. The human scientists seem to anticipate such objections. Traditional terraforming, yes. But we've discovered naturally occurring quantum field fluctuations in certain regions of deep space. With the right technology, these fields can be manipulated to accelerate planetary formation exponentially. The implications hit Zephon like a physical blow. If humans had truly discovered such technology, they possessed the ability to create new worlds at will. But why had they vanished instead of using such power to defend themselves? Every human colony has been evacuating in secret for the past 2 months, Morrison revealed. Not fleeing in fear but relocating to begin the greatest undertaking in galactic history. We're not just going to survive the Keshari Empire, we're going to make them irrelevant. The video log showed massive ships, far larger than any human, vessels previously recorded, departing from hidden construction sites throughout human space. Each ship carried thousands of colonists and equipment loads that defied belief. The Keshari think in terms of conquest and domination, Morrison said. They see a universe of limited resources to be hoarded and controlled. But humanity has always excelled at creating solutions where others see only problems. Zephon watched in fascination as the human explained their plan. Rather than fight a war they couldn't win, humans were abandoning known space entirely. They would establish new colonies in regions too distant and dangerous for other species to follow, using their terraforming breakthrough to create paradise worlds far from galactic conflicts. When the 30-day ultimatum expires, the Keshari will find empty human worlds, Morrison concluded. They can claim victory over ghost towns and abandoned cities. Meanwhile, humanity will be building a new civilization beyond their reach. The video log ended, but the terminal continued displaying real-time data streams, resource allocation, construction progress, population numbers, all updating continuously. This can't be current data, Lixa whispered. According to this, human colonies have grown by 300% since their supposed extinction. Zephon studied the displays with growing amazement. If the information was accurate, humanity hadn't just survived their confrontation with the Keshari Empire. They had used it as motivation to achieve something unprecedented in galactic history. Look at this, he said, pointing to a star chart, showing dozens of new solar systems, each marked with symbols indicating fully terraformed worlds. They've created more habitable planets in 3 years than most species develop in millennia. The implications were staggering. While the galaxy had mourned humanity's passing or celebrated their defeat, the resourceful species had quietly become one of the most successful colonizing forces in known space. A new video log suddenly activated, startling the research team. Dr. Morrison appeared again, but she looked different. Younger, healthier, more confident. Supplemental log dated yesterday, she announced. Project Genesis has exceeded all expectations. We now control 47 star systems, each containing an average of 3 habitable worlds. Our population has grown to over 200 million, across all colonies. Yesterday, the log was from yesterday. Human technology has advanced remarkably thanks to the resources available in deep space, Morrison continued. We've developed faster-than-light communication networks, matter replication systems, and terraforming technology that can transform a barren planet into a garden world in mere months. She leaned closer to the camera, her expression serious. But most importantly, we've learned that running from conflict isn't a permanent solution. The galaxy is vast, but not infinite. Eventually, expanding civilizations will encounter each other again. The screen displayed images of massive ships under construction, but these weren't colony vessels. They were clearly military designs, incorporating technology that looked decades ahead of anything the galactic powers possessed. Humanity tried peaceful coexistence and was nearly destroyed for our efforts, Morrison stated. We tried retreat and isolation and achieved remarkable success. Now it's time for the third option, ensuring that no species will ever again face the choice between submission and extinction. The video log ended abruptly, leaving the archaeological team in stunned silence. Around them, the abandoned research station hummed with quiet activity, its systems continuing to monitor and record the impossible resurrection of human civilization. Zephon realized they had discovered something far more significant than an archaeological site. They had found evidence that the galaxy's understanding of recent history was completely wrong. Humanity wasn't extinct. They were preparing for something that would change everything. The awakening storm. The Galactic Assembly had not convened an emergency session for over 2 centuries. Representatives from 100 worlds filled the massive chamber on Nexus Prime, their voices creating a cacophony of concern and confusion in dozens of languages. At the center of the circular hall, the primary display showed a star chart that had terrified every military analyst in known space. Ambassador Kethvar of the Keshari Empire stood at his delegation's podium, his mandibles clicking with agitation. "The data must be fabricated," he insisted, his translated voice carrying across the chamber. "Humans were eliminated 3 years ago. We witnessed their worlds go dark. We claimed their territories." "Empty territories," corrected Chancellor Voran of the Centaurian Republic. The blue-skinned diplomat gestured toward the display with obvious concern. "Your empire conquered ghost towns and abandoned infrastructure. Meanwhile, according to these archaeological findings, humanity has been establishing a new civilization in deep space." The star chart showed an impossible sight. Dozens of new solar systems, each containing multiple habitable worlds, all bearing the distinctive energy signatures of advanced human technology. Long-range scanners had detected massive population centers, industrial complexes, and what appeared to be military installations on a scale that dwarfed anything previously attributed to human civilization. Even if the humans somehow survived, growled General Thakmor of the Draconian Alliance, his reptilian features twisted in skepticism, they lack the resources for such expansion. Terraforming takes centuries. Fleet construction requires industrial bases we would have detected. Dr. Zephon stepped forward from the archaeological delegation area. His 4 arms gestured respectfully as he addressed the assembly. "Honored representatives, my team has spent weeks analyzing the data from the human research station. The technology they've developed appears to manipulate quantum field fluctuations to accelerate natural planetary formation processes. What normally takes millennia can be accomplished in months." The implications sent ripples of unease throughout the chamber. If humanity possessed such capabilities, they represented a potential threat to the galactic balance of power that had existed for thousands of years. "Theoretical terraforming advances aside," interrupted Ambassador Kethvar, "humans lack the military capacity to challenge established galactic powers. Our intelligence indicates no significant fleet movements in any known human territories." "Because they're not in known human territories," replied Chancellor Voran quietly. "They've moved beyond the edges of mapped space, into regions we considered uninhabitable or unreachable." The chamber fell silent as the full scope of humanity's strategy became clear. Rather than fight a war they couldn't win, they had essentially left the galaxy's political structure entirely, establishing their own sovereign space beyond anyone's reach or influence. A new voice cut through the silence, calm and confident. "If I may address the assembly?" Every head turned toward the chamber's main entrance where a single figure stood waiting for permission to enter. She was clearly human, bipedal, hair the color of autumn leaves, wearing a simple but elegant uniform that bore no resemblance to any known military or diplomatic service. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez, representing the United Human Colonies," she announced, walking steadily toward the center of the chamber. "I believe you've been discussing our recent activities." The assembly erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted questions, demands, and accusations, while security forces moved to surround the unexpected visitor. Captain Vasquez stood calmly in the center of the storm, waiting for order to be restored. "How did you get here?" demanded General Thakmor. "Our sensors detected no human vessels approaching Nexus Prime." Vasquez smiled slightly. "We've made significant advances in travel technology over the past 3 years. Distance is no longer the obstacle it once was for humanity. Chancellor Vorin raised a hand for silence. Captain Vasquez, the Assembly recognizes your right to address this body. However, your presence here raises serious questions about galactic security protocols. I understand your concerns, Vasquez replied, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. Humanity has indeed developed capabilities that render previous assumptions about our limitations obsolete. But we're not here to threaten anyone. We're here to establish new diplomatic relationships based on mutual respect and equality. Ambassador Kethvar's mandibles clicked aggressively. Humanity surrendered all claims to galactic recognition when you abandoned your territories. You have no legal standing in this assembly. We abandoned territories that were under attack, Vasquez corrected, her tone remaining level. We never surrendered our sovereignty or our right to exist, and we've since established new territories far exceeding our previous colonial presence. She activated a small device, and the chamber's main display shifted to show detailed images of human colonies in deep space. The representatives stared in amazement at cities that rivaled anything in known space, orbital stations that dwarfed major trade hubs, and fleets of vessels incorporating technology that seemed decades ahead of current galactic standards. 47 star systems, Vasquez announced, each containing an average of 3 fully terraformed worlds, current population exceeding 200 million and growing rapidly. Industrial capacity that surpasses most galactic empires. Impossible, whispered General Thakmore. Such expansion would require resources beyond any single species' capability. You're thinking in terms of scarcity, Vasquez explained. Humanity learned to think in terms of abundance. The universe contains unlimited resources for those with the technology and will to access them. She gestured, and the display showed massive mining operations in regions of space previously thought uninhabitable. Automated systems extracted raw materials from asteroid fields, gas giants, and even the vacuum of space itself, processing them into components for further expansion. We've developed matter replication technology that allows us to create any needed resource from basic atomic components, Vasquez continued. Combined with our terraforming advances, we can establish self-sufficient colonies anywhere in the galaxy within months rather than centuries. The chamber buzzed with concerned conversation. If humanity possessed such technology, they represented a paradigm shift in galactic civilization. Traditional concepts of territorial control and resource management became meaningless when any species could create new worlds and unlimited resources at will. What do you want from us? Asked Chancellor Vorin directly. Vasquez paused, considering her response carefully. 3 years ago, humanity faced extinction because we were seen as weak and expendable. We were denied protection under galactic law because we lacked sufficient military or economic influence. We've spent the time since then ensuring that never happens again. She activated her device again, and the display shifted to show something that made every military representative in the chamber gasp. Massive battle stations, each larger than entire spaceports, orbited strategically throughout human space. The weapon systems visible on their hulls incorporated technology that defied easy analysis. We don't seek conquest or domination, Vasquez stated firmly. But we will never again allow any species to threaten human existence. These defensive installations ensure that anyone attempting to repeat the Kashari Empire's aggression will face consequences they cannot overcome. Ambassador Kethvar rose from his position, his entire body trembling with rage. You dare threaten the Kashari Empire? I'm not threatening anyone, Vasquez replied calmly. I'm stating facts. Humanity has learned that peace requires strength, and we now possess strength sufficient to guarantee our security and that of any allies who choose to stand with us. She turned to address the full assembly. We offer partnership to all species willing to embrace principles of mutual respect and cooperative development. Our terraforming technology, matter replication systems, and advanced manufacturing capabilities are available to any civilization that renounces aggressive expansion and commits to peaceful coexistence. The offer sent shockwaves through the chamber. Access to human technology could transform any species into a galactic power overnight. But the conditions were clear. Aggression would no longer be tolerated. And if we refuse? Asked General. Thacamore Vasquez's expression remained friendly but firm. Then you continue as you have, while humanity continues as we have. But the days when humans can be threatened with impunity are over. We've grown beyond your reach, and our defensive capabilities ensure we'll remain that way. She prepared to leave, then paused. Oh, and Ambassador Kethvar, your empire is welcome to keep those empty human worlds you conquered. Consider them a gift from a species that's outgrown the need for such small thinking. As Captain Vasquez walked toward the chamber exit, the implications of her visit settled over the assembled representatives. Humanity hadn't just survived their near extinction. They had used it as motivation to become something unprecedented in galactic history. The universe had just discovered that pushing humans to their breaking point didn't destroy them. It transformed them into something far more powerful than anyone had imagined possible. The age of humanity treating other species as equals was over. Now, other species would have to prove they deserved to be treated as equals by humanity.